van coming through our city with carrying a large amount of marijuana. So we immediately notified the GSP. The GSP, Georgia State Patrol, initiated a traffic stop on this particular truck. Atlanta Police Narcotics Investigation Team immediately showed up on the scene. We took possession of that truck and the driver and transported the driver of the truck back to headquarters. Once we got there, we opened the back of the truck up, and inside we located some 5,800 pounds of marijuana. Shrink wrapped in 208 bales. Now, to give you a perspective, this is an approximately $9 million seizure that we've had in the city. We think it's even one of the biggest, if not the biggest, marijuana seizures we've ever had in the city. It's certainly the largest one in recent memory and the largest one we can find on record to date. So it's a significant seizure for us. The driver was arrested and charged with trafficking in marijuana. We're now beginning this obviously is an ongoing investigation, so there's a lot of things I know you're going to want to ask, but we just can't talk about. We have to hold some of this stuff pretty closely because it's such an active investigation. And so that's the initial statement. If anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer anything you've got.
Daryl, so much of the drugs, of course, are coming from Mexico. I mean, could you comment on that as to whether this was the origin and where it may have been destined to?
Yeah. No, I can't, Tom. Yeah. Only because I got to hold that part close right now. This is so active, it's so fluid right now that we just got to keep some of that stuff close. Obviously, I can tell you that we're asking the DEA to help us out with this investigation because we think it's obviously bigger than just Atlanta. So we've asked our federal partners to help us out with it. But as far as where it was coming from and going to, we can't release that right now.
Mm-hmm. What type of vehicle was it?
It's similar to a cargo type van. I don't want to throw out a name, a U-Haul or a Ryder type truck.
Kind of like a box truck?
Box truck, yeah. Exactly, yeah. And the interesting thing was they had it wrapped in saran wrap, as you guys have seen, and they had it coated with some type of chlorine. And of course we know that helps they're trying to throw the dogs off should some dogs come around that particular truck. So you guys smelled it. It's a pretty intense smell back there.
Can you explain a little further about what brought the attention upon that particular truck?
I can only tell you right now that it was a tip, and I just got to hold it there. Got to hold that close as well. It was obviously a reliable tip that we'd received. It paid off. It was correct. So we just have to hold that information close.
Was this drug, this marijuana, could you tell whether it was extreme high quality? Was it hydroponically grown? Was it grown can you give us some more details of the?
Not yet, and here's why. We really haven't gotten into it yet. Mm-hmm. It's still in its original container, which is shrink wrap. So we'll be obviously doing some testing on that with our federal partners as well to try to find out what grade it is. Right now, I'd hesitate to comment on how good or how strong or what kind of grade it was.
Is it normal for this amount of drugs to be moved with one person? That seems like, I don't know.
Well, it's not normal for us, which is another reason we think this is probably the largest marijuana seizure we've had in the city of Atlanta.
You know, one thing I found struck me as peculiar is that the profit margin for marijuana sales is not as much as heroin, as you know, as methamphetamine, which is surprising that someone is still trafficking in marijuana of this quantity when there's much more higher profit margin to be made in other drugs like heroin. And
I agree, but you know, the fact still remains it's still a sought after commodity. There's still a big market for marijuana in this country and even throughout the state of Georgia. So it doesn't get all the attention that some of the others do because you don't have some of the dangers of it as far as the ODs and stuff that we get with opiates and with heroin. But it's certainly still a large market out there.
Mm-hmm. Even with all the legalization going on across the country, Washington,
yes.
Colorado, and California?
Yes, sir. Yeah. And I say that even from our own narcotics experience. When we go out, we are still recovering a lot of marijuana on our searches. So it's out there. Still a big market for it.
There are a lot of people who say this is, one of those drugs that everybody uses. It's out there. Why is it important to those people for it to not be on the streets?
Well, it's because of what surrounds drug use and drug sales. We see it every day. So, I don't have to read a book or listen to I see it every day. Most of our shootings are either tied to gangs or drugs. And many times it's marijuana. It's not some of the more dangerous stuff. So it's no doubt about it that crime is associated with drugs of all kinds, including marijuana.
What kind of market is there for marijuana here in Atlanta?
Unfortunately, it's better than we'd wish it would be. So it's still very good. That's what I mean by, if you look at our drug seizures, we seize a lot of marijuana each and every week around here. So it's just not talked about as much. You know, it's not what you read about every day, but it's still out there, no question about it.
So it's not harvest season right now, right? Harvest season usually comes out late November, something like that. Have you ever seen this type of amount of marijuana, this amount of it, in a non-harvest season?
You know, I'm not familiar with the harvest season, so that's a good, thank you for that.
He's from California, so he's familiar with ours.
We learned something today from Kyle, so, but you know, back to my original comment is that I don't think we've seen this big of a seizure in Atlanta, certainly in recent history. So, harvest time or not, it's still a very significant seizure, no question about it, some $9 million worth.
So if this was such a big bust, is there another one out there just like it?
Well, there's probably more out there, yeah. We don't think this is the only truck that possibly even came through the city that day. It's the only one we caught. So that's why we're always out and about, you know, looking for this kind of stuff. And we have people in places that try to help us out with that. And of course, we have our federal partners as well, the DEA, that help us as well. So, no, it's not, you know, I think we got lucky, to be honest with you, you know. But I'll take luck sometimes, any day.
You were saying that this is this happens, this is part of the game for these guys, right? So do you think it's going to make a big dent or not? Or what part of this is part of the game?
No, I don't think so. When you look at somebody who can push this kind of volume, I don't think it's going to make a big dent in the drug market throughout this country. I think it may help us here in Atlanta for a minute, but it's not. I don't think it slows anything down. We still have a serious issue with drugs in this country, and certainly throughout the state.
And these guys know, right, going into it, that they're going to lose some of this product.
Well, I think anybody who pushes it at this level, you got to expect you're going to lose some of your product. You get on highways and byways, you know that there's a risk of being stopped and losing some of your product. So I think it's you know, they understand this is a cost of doing business.
You know, as you know, there's been a push, momentum for legalization of marijuana around the country. I think Massachusetts just passed a bill this past November legalizing marijuana. Do you all have a position on this? Do you think it would reduce criminal crime associated with drug sales if marijuana were legalized? What is the position of the left?
Well, you know, I don't think we have enough studies out there to show us that would change our minds. Right now, our position is that we don't advocate for legalization of marijuana, and it's because of what we see tied to any and all drugs, the crime that's associated with it. So without more studies to be able to show us something that, hey, you know, that it really will reduce crime overall, we still have to maintain our position on it.
Do we have anything else in the track of concern? Any weapons? Anything else? Any
No.
other contraband?
No, not at all. Just only the drugs. He had a little bit of cash, not much, and we're still trying to verify some things on his story. Obviously, he didn't tell us a whole lot, and so we're still trying to do some verification of what he did say. And he's in Fulton County Jail right now and be there for a while.
Did you resist arrest or anything?
No, sir.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, Chief.
The money he had was